There we go. Lovely stuff. So just a really quick, brief introduction to myself. My name is Luke. I'm part of the team here down at Octopus Electric Vehicles. And in my role for the last 2 years, I've been part of our training team, creating, designing, implementing the training programs that we have for both our new starters and also our tenured team members. So today, a little bit more about my background is my introduction to L&D didn't come through the professional setting. It actually came more through the sports coaching role. So before I worked here, I've coached cricket, I've coached football, I've done all that sort of stuff, and that really sparked that passion for L&D. So when I came here and having the opportunity to train people, it was a great experience for myself. Now, I wanted to talk a little bit about today about what I learned in those sports roles and what I've implemented here. And the way we're going to do this is by looking at a case study to demonstrate this, being New Zealand. Now, why New Zealand itself? So the reason why this sticks out to me is based on the fact that we have a massive disparity between the population size and the World Sport Ranking, which is an independent authority who take in a general ranking of global sport and performance. Now, what this is and how can we apply this to our L&D strategies is what I'm going to be discussing. But I want to just put a quick disclaimer out there that, yes, there is going to be an element of genetics, training, and diet, but I'm not going to be encouraging you to be implementing some workout routines and nutritional plans to your L&D strategies. We're going to be looking at two factors, really, that we can apply on like a wider approach. And the first factor being avoiding early specialization. Now, does anybody in here know who this man is? Yes. Ross Taylor, exactly that. So Ross Taylor is New Zealand's all-time most capped Test cricketer. Now, when asked about his career and his success, he speaks a lot about the fact that he didn't specialise in cricket early and growing up looked at hockey, cricket, rugby, basketball, netball, and everything in between. As well as this, New Zealand really has a philosophy of balance is better, which is actually a program being run by Sport New Zealand, which takes this approach and applies that generalist approach rather than a specialist. So how can we approach this to L&D? Now, I think what I took away from this is massively about looking at who we're creating the L&D for. Is it that person who's a head of department, who's a specialist that really does need that specialist knowledge? Or is it somebody like myself at the early stages of the career or early stages of a chapter of the career that could really benefit from avoiding that specialization? The next factor we're going to look at, hopefully, is having a clear identity. Now, Tony Bruce is a professor of sport at Auckland University, and when asked about New Zealand's success in sport, she says that she believes it's down to who we think we are as New Zealanders. And this is backed up further by Dan Carter, who's an ex-All Black, where he explains it's all about doing the best you can for the public, making the public proud and making the history proud. A bit of a stretch of how we can bring this into your L&D strategies and how we implement this, but I'm sure there's some people in here who have had a real struggle with engagement. You've created your training program, you're struggling there, everything's good, you've got the info, you've got the content, but you really are struggling with that engagement. So a lot of the time when we get in that position, we look at gamification, we look at making it more interactive, but can we actually take a step back and look at that brand identity that we have and see if that can be the indicator to motivate people to get engaged? Now, lastly, personally, I'm a big believer in practicing what you preach. So I'm going to give you a little bit of information about how we do this at Octopus Electric Vehicles. Now, a big part of my role here as a trainer here is taking part in what we call the COPS Academy. So this is a 7-week program for our onboarding our customer operations specialists. Now, this has been through many variations, but the current form we have is more of a generalist approach. So we have different people from different parts of the company come to speak about that area and how they can specialize in there. But not only does this give people in the early stages of the career a bit of an insight about different stages, it also gives those transferable skills. And what we've seen happen is that when people move on from this role into a more senior role, a more specialized role, is that not only do they have transferable skills from all different parts of the company, but they also have a real passion to be there because they've been given the opportunity to have a look at those sort of things. And then lastly, if you all just take a look around you, the brand identity, it's not particularly hard to see. There's octopuses everywhere. It's very bright. We know who we are as a company. We have a couple of sort of company morals as well about leading the charge, back each other, care more, and be brave, which are regularly encouraged and celebrated within the company, making sure that we do have that brand identity and motivation to engage in our L&D. Thank you.